We're back again. Thanks for joining us as always. And we are diving right into, let's see, we got all the stuff. We've got the news. We've got the car debates, the questions, the car conclusions. I'm going to talk about the movie Superman, which I saw this past weekend with my son.
Cool.
Much to debate about that. I'm going to be spoiler free, but I am going to talk about the Superman movie a little bit. That'll happen later, but we're going to dive into things related to, I don't know, cars and stuff. We should probably start at Goodwood, which happened this past weekend.
Yeah, it did.
The only place I can think of where people gather to drive a person's driveway. They call it driving up the hill, but you're driving up Lord March's driveway, which is actually pretty cool. And I realized it has been a decade since I went. That's amazing. 2015 in June. Wow. I'd still like to go. It seems really cool.
It's really spectacular. It's excellent.
Yeah, it does seem fun. All kinds of things went up the hill this year.
Car manufacturers build 3-story displays.
Yeah.
It's a massive event. It's a major deal, but everybody's out there camping. And then at 6 in the morning, that first engine fires and you're up. You're up. Yeah, it's going to be a great day.
I love it.
Seeing stuff.
The big thing that we wanted to talk about that was revealed or shown at the Goodwood Festival was the new Ioniq 6N. You've heard of the Ioniq 5N. This is the Ioniq 6N.
That's right.
So the Ioniq 5 is that SUV hatchback thing that we drove against the Ferrari of all things. It made sense. Watch it on our original YouTube channel. We actually made it make sense as why we're driving it against Ferrari. This is the 6, which I have to go ahead and say has always looked awkward.
You think so? What about it is awkward to your eye?
I think the back is, it drops away incorrectly, especially from the straight back. The rear three-quarters not great, and the straight back just looks like somebody stepped on it.
Okay.
That's my take.
I have warmed to it. I felt similar. The front end has been revised, but you'll notice that it is now the Performance Blue, and Hyundai has done the same thing they did with the 5N. So it's 601 horsepower with the overboost, which gets it up to 641 horsepower, and they're claiming a 3.2 second 0 to 60 time, which really doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
What matters was that it was driven up the hill, up the driveway at Goodwood Festival of Speed and introduced there. It is not available yet. It is not in dealerships. To my knowledge, nobody can order this yet, but I feel like every journalist really loved the i5N.
Yes, agreed.
Now here's the i6N. What was so jarring about styling about the 6N was it didn't look like anything else in the Hyundai's lineup.
Sure, yeah.
It doesn't relate stylistically to anything. Take away the color. Just 5N,
You're right.
6N. Is this the same car company?
Yeah,
but
fair.
What I like is they're trying things. And you know what? In this performance trim, I mean, of course, screw a wing to the back of anything. I like it. Yes. It's pretty cool, but I think this is pretty interesting, and I liked what Hyundai is doing. I did watch the drifting up the hill.
Yeah, the new front end helps.
Monstrous clouds of smoke.
Yes, the new front end helps.
Cool.
And actually something about making the back axle having a wider fender back there helps the shape of the back for me.
Yeah, that's the drift spec here.
But even in the normal spec,
just
still got a little bit
there.
of a haunches in the back, and I think that does help. I'm very curious about this because we like the Ioniq 5N very much, and we complimented it quite a bit on camera and against a Ferrari, talking about how I feel like Hyundai is the first to create the sensations that we like from gas cars in an electric car. And it was surprising how much having those reference points for when to shift. I mean, everything's fake. All the sound is fake. All the shift points are fake.
There was a lot of sound coming out of this too.
They've all been programmed.
Yeah.
But those indicators subconsciously help you engage with what the car is doing. And it was very interesting to discover that. So I'm wondering, does that matter to people like my son? As they grow up in a world where there are more electric cars, are those reference points going to matter as much? That's my first question. But my second thing is, this is probably going to be very fun to drive if the Ioniq 5N is any reference.
Yeah, I expect it to be, yeah.
Will these sell, is my question. Is there a market for a performance EV sedan? I mean, I know the Model S exists. I know the Model 3 Performance exists. I know that they're out there, the Taycan, that kind of stuff. But is there a market for this comparatively affordable performance EV? Is that a buyer? And the second thing is, this is a car like the Ioniq 5N, who a lot of the conversation, we're starting at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, a lot of the conversation is, take this to the track. And while we welcome electric cars at some of the Hooked on Driving events, the Northern California events are actually very EV friendly because a lot of those tracks are EV friendly. Not all tracks in the U.S. are. And I feel like, follow me through here. You know how 10 years ago, if somebody wanted to do a cross-country drive in an EV, it was news. It was like, here's how I stitched it together and made it work.
Yeah.
I feel like right now in 2025, that's taking an EV to a track day.
Oh.
I can do it. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's fun. I can kind of get just enough power. If I skip this session and I go to that session and I make sure I go to this track and I plug in just like this, then I can get it's not, for all the things that EVs do well, tracking is not really way up there yet, even though they have a lot of power and these have good dynamics. So I'm very curious to see in general, because you and I are obviously talking about people that go to racetracks a lot more than we used to because of Hooked on Driving.
Mm-hmm.
I am intrigued for electric car owners to bring their cars to the track. But I just wonder how much of a market there is for buying this for street use and let alone taking it to the track. I hope they come. I just don't know.
You know, to your point, I wonder if Porsche, by introducing the Taycan and performance versions of it and actually doing a lot of tracking, especially with the Turbo S, Turbo GT, and the Weissach pack for the Turbo GT, I'm wondering if that has introduced. That is stratospherically too expensive for most people. It's $250,000 when you're finally done with a Weissach pack and everything that you want to take it to the track.
Wait 2 years and they're half price used.
Well, maybe so, but this is even less than half of that car.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yes.
So if that's intriguing, now the problem is it a problem if people buy a track performance car, a performance focused car, and don't take it to the track? Does the same problem exist if you buy a Bronco Raptor R and it's shiny and clean? I see way too many clean Raptor Rs around Park City.
It's a very good point.
They just commute. People like, why do you? It's just image at that point. Take it off road. Every one of them should be covered in dust and dirt and mud at all times. It's sort of like the badge of honor.
I
but
agree.
if you drive one of these and you don't take it to the track, suddenly you've got a great handling, great performance car. These, particularly Hyundai, in addition to Porsche, I don't know that any other manufacturer is leaning so heavily into the track performance part of their EVs. They've got battery conditioning, knowing that if you buy one of these, certainly you'd take it to the track. It was introduced. Well, it's a track, but it's a driveway. It was introduced in someone's driveway.
That is the way we should be able to be talking about this. This was introduced on someone's driveway, which is
Doesn't
not
sound too good.
Really right. It's
not a
but
good
also
look.
Correct.
But
technically,
then,
yes.
In context, you see this thing going crazy. And like I said, the monstrous clouds of smoke coming out of the back end of this thing was mind-blowing. Cool car. It was sideways. The driver was just wiggling a little bit and just punched the throttle, and the thing was sideways instantly. And it was rather satisfying, very entertaining. So maybe the Taycan has set up the market, because the Taycans, to my understanding, for the first 6 months of 2025, haven't been selling all that well.
No, but
they're also really expensive. So is there a market, and does this take that?
I'm very curious.
That market share.
I'm intrigued by this. I definitely want to drive it, knowing how good the Ioniq 5N was. I'm very intrigued to drive this. I think it'll be very good. I'm just really wondering, and we talked about it some last time. I'm wondering what is the market for all of this, and we shall see. I want to talk about something else you guys have brought up. It's very interesting to me that Corvette is still having rumblings. We talked about the rumors before, where we talked about the ZR1 and ZR1X. And we maybe ranted a bit too long, but we talked about it because we were like, where is the Zora name? And there have been rumblings now, and here is the latest rumble. Tony Roma, not the restaurant, by the way. Tony Roma is now
the barbecue restaurant guy?
No, apparently a different person. He is actually lead engineer now on the Corvette, and he said, there's something else coming. We're not done yet. Now, some people are reading into that and saying that means there's a model coming above the ZR1X. But then there's
to do what with?
But see, this is that now we have a what? We have
to
a what?
Do what?
Because we start to read further into the interview, what he's talking about is the we're not done yet is they want to take back the ring record from Ford. They want the ring record back that Ford has taken with the GTD Mustang. They want to get it back with a variant of the C8. So this creates more questions than answers, because the big question is, does this mean they're going to make another model that happens to be the one that breaks the ring record, or are they just going to take the ZR1X and crank it into an inch of its life so they can get the record back and offer a special pack, Nürburgring ring version, whatever?
The ZR1X Lord of the Rings version.
There you go.
Lord of the Ring
Yes.
They won't
the LOTR. Yes, I'm sure that'll be very easy to license.
Any licensing
very
issues.
easy to license. No, yeah,
Will they?
The Lord of the Rings is
Nobody's
super
used
simple
that,
licensing. Yeah, it's going to be
those
fine.
4 words.
Yes, it'll be the Lord of the Ring. Yeah, I like it.
Lord of the Ring version. LOTR.
So this is the discussion that Corvette is saying we are going to do more, but they keep saying do more underneath the guise of we want that ring record back for America, instead of Ford having it. So I'm very curious what this actually means. And then we've talked about this before. If you make a version that is just completely dialed in for the ring, do you want it for anything else? And then it just becomes I bought the Lord of the Ring version, and it sits in my driveway, and I go to Cars and Coffee with it at trundle speed. I mean, what?
Which will happen.
What is this, really? It's intriguing. But what is this going to be really? I think it's interesting that Chevy says they're not done. I want to ask the other question, and that is, what's up with the C9? And I like the C8. We've owned a C8. It's excellent. I like all the versions that they've made. But we're hearing zero about if they're even working on a C9. And if there's going to be one in 3 or 4 or 5 years, they would need to be working on it now. So what's the story on the C9? And I'm still holding out hope that by the C9, there will be a manual. Because I think the industry, even around Corvette,
I'd love that,
has changed enough that I think there is a lot of handwriting on the wall, if you will, that if they had a manual, it'd be good. I'm amazed by the C8, and all these versions are cool. I want to drive the ZR1 and the ZR1X.
Yeah,
and then the Lord of the Ring edition, I guess. I will do that as well. Why
not?
Yeah.
Coming. We know that's definitely coming,
Clearly,
right?
it's coming, yeah.
We'll see if there's going to be a C9 and they bring the manual back, and it'll just be revised style and maybe power bump and a few other tweaks here and there. Maybe they bring the lightweight version, the T, that I've been asking for at least a year now.
The ZR1 XT?
LOTR.
Yes, it's going to be great. With the ZO something pack. Yeah.
Something's you got to work the Z in there somewhere.
Of course, yes.
If it's not Zora, put the Z in there. So what will the C10 be? I mean, I'm looking way down the road.
Oh, you are, yeah.
Will
That's
that
got to be 20 years out.
Co-developed with Lockheed Martin and have some sort of propulsion system?
Yes, I like it.
Other things at Goodwood. I saw that Renault concept that we had talked about a few podcasts back go flying up the hill, up the driveway. Yeah. But what I've been so intrigued by for the longest time now, and I found renderings, this is not the final version. This is just a rendering on the internet that somebody did based off of the camouflage for the new Lexus LFR and Toyota LFR concept. So that would be the track-only version. But just the fact that Toyota is introducing this, and this was in camo version, both versions, camo version, and I guess the Lexus and the Toyota versions were at Goodwood driving up the hill. They weren't really going crazy because they kind of wanted to show off, but they still kind of wanted to be secretive. And I wanted to find something that kind of looks like something close to it.
I mean, you're taking what they've seen undercover and Lexus current design language and what the LFA looked like, because that seam, that opening beneath the Lexus logo, that's something from the LFA. This is the LFA replacement, if you will, the next
LFR is what the next
hypercar. So the LFR, and I will see. I'm very
maybe
intrigued.
They'll use Zora. If Chevy doesn't,
Why
maybe
not?
They'll use Zora.
The Lexus Zora. Now you're really confused. Chevy's going to use Lord of the Rings. Lexus is going to use Zora. It's going to be exciting. We don't know. It's going to be all kinds of stuff.
This is so intriguing to me. So yeah, the Festival of Speed was really, really great looking this year, and a lot of course, crazy hypercars, supercars. There was a Ford truck that crushed everything, but you can't buy that at your dealer.
Of course not.
And it's not street legal. And
they bring out the old F1 cars. I mean, all kinds of stuff goes up the hill. I cannot wait to actually go at some point. I really want to go. I'm very intrigued by it.
Sure.
There's another bit of news that I stumbled across. There's not a lot to this story, but I was intrigued. There is a data analyst at Hagerty that was looking into auction prices and just tracking auction prices. And by the way, on a separate note, Auto Tempest is our partner for when you're buying a car.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And Auto Tempest has just introduced a new thing that typically has only existed on auction sites, where you can actually look up a car based on price data. You can just say, what are Pagani Huayras going for, or GTIs, depending on your pocketbook. You can just see what has been the progression of cars. And if you go back far enough, you can see the huge spike that existed for COVID and how cars have settled out. You can see the most expensive things selling, the cheapest things selling, so you can understand what is the market doing, whether it's you're trying to figure out how to sell your car, like when to sell it, because we've got a couple things we're selling, the C8 and your GTS. Those are both going to happen soon.
Yep.
But also you're looking to buy. Am I getting a worthwhile price? You can measure that as well. But out of Hagerty's studying on what things are selling for under auction, they decided to cross-reference the data about auction sales with mileage. Because, of course, if you really want your thing to sell for a ton of money at an auction, it's got to have no miles, right?
Okay.
So the people they were looking into, the brands they were looking into were Ferrari, Porsche, Chevrolet, Ford, and Dodge. And what's hysterical about this...
Did they say any particular reason why they picked only those brands?
I don't know.
Was that I guess the proliferation of brands that are sold at auction?
I guess. So you can see this chart here that is showing how many cars had, for example, between 1,000 and 10,000 miles on them, all right? Okay. 9,999. And most of the cars going at auction from most of the brands are in that range. Between 1,000 and 10,000 miles, most of the ones selling were selling in that. The one with consistently the least miles was Dodge. Vast majority of Dodge products available for auction have less than 100 miles.
Are they all, did they say what they were? Hellcat powered something?
I'm sure
Vipers
it'll be special edition, Hellcat, Demon, whatever. But what this tells me is that all these Dodge, it tells me a couple things. It tells me that Dodge special editions are the cars that people buy not to drive, but to wrap in plastic. Which is too bad because they got killer engines. They're very fun. It tells me that. It also tells me that there's no other Dodges going to auction but these things that people think are collector's items. That's the other thing it tells me. But I just thought it was fascinating. When you think about like high-end brands, I would definitely think that all the Ferraris that show up at auction are super low mile. No, there's a decent amount of cars showing up.
I would have never guessed Dodge.
But Dodge, apparently with Dodge, we just don't drive them. We leave the plastic on the seats, we buy them, and we auction them off later. What it tells me is there's a pocket industry of people that are just buying Dodges speculative and don't want to drive them. Don't ever plan to. It's like the
price goes up on Dodges.
It's like the run of the GNX.
Yeah, those cars were built to auction, built to never drive.
People
and just
bought
built
the
to
GNX
sit.
back, the Buick GNX back with hey, it was an American car with a turbo. They bought it back in 87, 88, and they just parked in their garage, wrapped in plastic, and they all brought them out in like the last 10 years, and now they're worth money. And they shouldn't be worth what they're worth. But the key thing is this has no miles. I'm saying all of this to say the thing that we've said many, many times, and that is please go drive your car.
Agreed.
Please don't buy your car because of what you think it'll be worth when you sell it. Don't do that. Drive it. It's its entire purpose for being. Anyway.
Except for Dodge buyers.
Special Dodges apparently are supposed to be auctioned.
But if they had dropped that Hellcat engine in the Pacifica minivan, you'd want to just hang on to that, wrap it in plastic, don't use it for minivan stuff, because then it'd be covered in drool and dog hair. And
no, but just leave it wrapped in plastic.
Fingernail
it's probably better for the family. Just leave it wrapped in plastic. Not because you're trying to keep the miles down.
Wrapped
just
in
leave
plastic.
it wrapped in plastic. Yeah, dogs, kids. Minivan with a Hellcat. I love it. Is that the Hell Van? What is that called? I really want to know.
Still not sure.
Yeah.
Griot's Garage is our official car care partner and one of the first ever sponsors of our show. They don't just make great car care products, they want you to get out and drive.
Griot's is a family-owned company, and they've been a part of every one of our road trips. We always take speed shine on every shoot, helping us spot clean cars in a moment's notice.
Griot's foaming glass cleaner is the quickest and best way we've ever found to get windows clean before a big day of driving. Griot's is always releasing new and improved products, like their updated wash bucket, too.
Plus, all of Griot's liquid products are 100% guaranteed and made right here in the U.S. The Griot's folks are always happy to answer any questions you have and make sure you get the right product and the right results.
So get the best quality car care products out there from a company that has always supported this show. Our audience can always get at least 10% off by using the code DRIVER10 at griotsgarage.com. Can we bring back the statement that everybody always used to use, and people still kind of do, and that is, well, that's the Cadillac of something.
Whatever, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the Cadillac of Ferraris.
Yeah,
that's the Cadillac of hotels.
Yes,
apply it to anything.
The top thing of whatever category, it was the Cadillac of that. It was a very American term, and it existed all of my growing up years.
Always. People still bring that term out to indicate the top class. And there's like Koenigsegg's and Paganis and Rimac.
Maybach exists, Rolls-Royce exists. Yes, exactly.
But it just doesn't seem to roll. And it fell out of favor, in my opinion, because of the association with the particular buyer of Cadillacs.
Okay, sure.
My grandfather was very much a Cadillac man.
Yeah.
He started with Buicks, and then once he got to middle management with
You're
Kroger,
supposed to get a Cadillac above
he
that.
had Cadillacs all the way until he got a late 90s Lexus. He discovered Lexus, but that's the Cadillac of Toyotas.
It is the Cadillac of Toyotas.
Is it not?
Somebody is beating their head against the wall. There's a marketing person right now who they're going to quit. They're done. We just called Lexus the Cadillac of Toyotas, everybody. Maybach is the Cadillac of Mercedes. Anyway, it does work. It's just also annoying.
I have decided, and we have been noticing that Cadillac is now the Cadillac of racing.
Isn't that interesting?
Cadillac is the contender now. Cadillac, you didn't see coming, neither did we. Cadillac is the Cadillac of almost every racing series that it's in.
Yeah.
It's got an incredible lineup of vehicles. And now they're going to be the Cadillac of F1 cars. You realize this is coming.
You're right.
You can reapply that statement, and it is now fresh and relevant. And anytime you bring up Cadillac in the modern era, I have a list of accomplishments that Cadillac has done over the past years. They developed that 5.5-liter V8 powertrain used in the 2023 and 2024 IMSA and WEC seasons.
And that's the powertrain that wound its way into the C8, right? Is it a variant of that?
I believe a variant of that 5.5.
That's a 5.5
that's been around.
Flat plane has been around
kind
a while,
of where it came from, and then it made its way into the street car. They have had 13 podiums in the last 12 years of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I didn't realize that.
And what's also interesting about
That's
that is quick.
Massive
I realize how movies affect me and all of us watching, but because of movies like Ford versus Ferrari, and because of, I feel like, just general consciousness, if I were to say to any American on the street, quick, name an American team that's done well at Le Mans, is anyone going to think of Cadillac? How many brands are you going to go through before you get to Cadillac?
What's the Cadillac race team?
You're going to think Ford. You're going to think Ford. If I asked you winning
Ford
Le Mans
is closely
teams, you're going to think
associated with
Ford,
that,
you're going to think Ferrari, you're going to think, Audi had all that string of wins for a year. Didn't Toyota win it once? Oh, if you really get in the weeds, Mazda had their rotary. How many people are you going to have to ask before you say, name me a winning Le Mans team, and they're going to go, Cadillac?
Their car is the Cadillac of winning Le Mans hypercars.
Isn't that crazy? That they're actually doing that well? And they've done, Cadillac has been, for a while, continually making these really good race cars. I know you've got a better list. I want you to dive back into it. But it is funny to me, if you were to go to the average person and go, what American brand is going to join F1? Would you think Cadillac? I mean, I know this is not breaking news. I know this is around for a while, but I still am laughing about the fact that the American team that's coming is Cadillac. It's not even Chevy. It's not even Corvette. It's Cadillac.
Now that you say that, I wonder about, from our podcast discussion about Christian Horner, and you know how Ford is partnering with Red Bull to jump back into F1.
Yeah.
Could that impending relationship have affected, or in part, I know there were other extenuating circumstances.
I think the extenuating circumstance is called Verstappen.
Maybe it was Verstappen.
I think.
Anyway,
there's two of them.
Conspiracy theory.
There you go. Yes.
Okay, well, back to the Cadillac of race cars, because the car that you see on screen currently is the Cadillac Hertz Team Jota. That set the pole position for the 2025 24 Hours of Le Mans car, the hypercar class. That is that car. They are currently, as of this podcast recording, in second place in the FIA Hypercar WEC Manufacturers Championship. Ferrari is first, Cadillac is second, and Porsche is third. Cadillac is currently in second place. We don't know how the year will end,
but still
behind Ferrari.
You don't. I don't think the average person thinks that way.
Interesting, because we'll come back to F1 and Cadillac's debut in F1 in the 2026 season. They will be using Ferrari engines for the first 3 years of their existence. Right. Yep. They just placed first and second in the 2025 Rolex 6 Hours of Sao Paulo. That was at Interlagos, ahead of the Porsche Penske Motorsport team. This car, the Cadillac team, took first and second. Porsche took third and fourth. Cadillac is a winning race team.
How frustrated are the Porsche race team managers to lose to Cadillac? That has to hurt.
Cadillac. Well, this is the Cadillac of trophies.
The big boats with the fins, that's who beat us?
That's what everybody thinks.
The velour bench seat boats with fins just beat our Porsche. It's a 911 variant, I'm sure, around the track. Yeah.
Yes. My grandfather's choice in cars. I don't think he ever had the 59 or the 62, but he had some pretty big boat-ish 70s Cadillacs, the kind of the forgettable ones.
Yeah.
It was like the 50s and the 60s, and then
my
just kind
grandparents had them too and loved them.
Then Lincoln ramped up to the 60s. And then
you want to float down the road, you buy a Cadillac. That's what you buy. Yeah.
They're floating down to victory lane is what they're doing right now.
Yeah, they've thrown out floating for downforce, I think.
So, to my knowledge, I'm racking my brain. Help me out here. I think they're the only current manufacturer on the planet building not one, but two rear-wheel drive sedans that are manual transmissions.
BMW is the only one offering.
BMW would be the only other.
Yeah. I don't know.
Mercedes,
I don't remember right now how many models on the M lineup they offer in manual. I just as of like this recording, I don't know how many.
You're right. BMW certainly would.
They have offered the 3 and the 5 prior, but I don't know if the latest M5 is even available in a manual. I think so, but somebody's correcting us. You're writing in the comments right now. But to your point.
But these are standouts. The CT4 and CT5V Blackwing cars. Wow, you want a rear-wheel drive, high-horsepower manual transmission that's actually good to drive. And we've finally driven the CT4 that will be part of one of the films coming out on our road trip to Coda and on to Tail of the Dragon. We actually drove a fan of the show, thank you, Kareem. He let us drive his CT4 Blackwing, and he drove it kind of in anger on some canyon roads and went, wow, this car is better than I thought.
Yeah, he actually fell in love with it a little bit more. But the point you're making here is back to kind of the same joke we just made with the racing, and that is if you think of a car that is those boxes, well, I want a really good, luxurious family sedan that's got a lot of space, 4 doors, rear-wheel drive. You think of BMW.
It's the obvious. You're right.
But then after that, you're never going to think Cadillac. And frankly, you're going to think Chevy before Cadillac, and yet here they are doing it. They are the last holdout. But put it another way, that description I just listed, that is an American car description. I'd like a large sedan, 4 doors, rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, and a big engine. Shouldn't that be every American manufacturer? And the only one doing it wears a Cadillac badge. That's weird. Can't do it with Dodge. Can't do it with Ford. Can't do it with Chevy.
Nope. Buick doesn't
you can't
even
do it.
Cars
you can't
anymore.
do it across the board. It's Cadillac or nothing in the U.S.
And
that is an American car description.
You're right. BMW, yes, obvious. I want to name, but we're limited. It's not just manuals across the board. And a lot of those cars are all-wheel drive. Still, I want to name Audis. I want to put other European manufacturers out there.
Yes.
What does Volkswagen have? No manuals there. It's just the GTI.
Yep. You can get yourself a rear-wheel drive, 4-door, great driving family sedan from Porsche, but it's got a PDK.
Yeah, no manuals there.
Yep.
So, with this F1, oh, by the way, they also just recently introduced that Celestiq EV. Well, think of their product portfolio.
Yes.
They don't have any lightweight small cars, but they are a winning race team. 2 rear-wheel drive manual transmission sedans to one of the most popular large SUVs that also is a V series, the Escalade.
The Escalade, which comes in V and now comes in EQ electric version.
Yes, it does.
Escalade
Anything EQ.
Yes.
And now they have the Lyriq and the Optique and the Celestiq. So they've got a lot of EV selections. They've got their Escalade. They've got quite a range of cars here, but they're just about to enter Formula One for the 2026 season. And as we said before, that will be with Ferrari for the first 3 seasons from 2026. And then starting in 2029, they will be building their own F1 engines for their team. The drivers have not been sorted out. Maybe by the time this recording is out, maybe Sergio Perez has been selected with somebody else, but this gives them an opportunity to select an American driver. Sure. I think Colton Herta is way up there personally. I think he should be considered. Don't know what their selection process is like. Doesn't matter. But their drivers are going to be selected. They are going to be an F1 engine manufacturer, which means that technology and that know-how.
Yes. What is that? Does that trickle down to Corvettes and stuff?
Yeah. And therefore, is it time to bring back a Corvette variant that is a Cadillac that leans heavily on that LMDH car as a style guide that really says, because Cadillac doesn't have any of those racing cars for the street.
True.
They don't have that connection, that last connection for their customers. You can buy something that is incredibly high performance that you can take to a racetrack that ties in with the Jota race team, that LMDH or the Daytona hypercar as well. They don't have product like that, but gosh, the new Corvette is pretty awesome, and they could revisit that 2004 to 2009 XLR experiment that was...
I think it's time for that to come back.
Poorly conceived then, and the styling was not on point. But now imagine that LMDH kind of styling, that car on the Corvette chassis, and they could go nuts. They could go even more aggressive because they have the race team to back it up, the Le Mans winning race team.
That's so crazy that you could actually say there is a high-performance Cadillac mid-engine supercar or hypercar that has connectivity to F1 and Le Mans. I've never imagined that. When you think about the 60s Cadillac we're all imagining right now, the 80s Cadillac, the big Eldorados from the 80s and that kind of stuff, and we're here. I mean, I love it.
It was the SLS. Remember that period?
Really, the SLS was not a good period at all. That all bad.
Catera. I blocked that out of my mind.
And now it's back.
Yeah,
it's going to be very interesting because this was the luxury standard for the world, and now it's kind of the U.S. racing standard for the world.
Yeah.
Much to Ford's chagrin. But there we are. Yeah.
You've also got me reading the Hollywood Reporter now because I have discovered that Keanu Reeves has decided to come alongside Cadillac, the F1 team, to produce a documentary. I don't know if you know other news or have read other news about this series,
I've heard rumors that it's apparently going to happen. We'll see.
I'm thinking it's going to happen.
Keanu Reeves has done some stuff about rally. He's done some other stuff as well. He is a motorcycle maker and a motorcycle rider in his own right. He's done racing again in rally and elsewhere. He's done a couple of the little small documentary series. I had a buddy that at one point was writing a script that was supposed to be Keanu Reeves starring as a rally driver that never really came about, but these documentaries did. This is a huge car guy. He's the right connective tissue to do a thing about the Cadillac F1 team because you knew there was going to be a series anyway. That was coming no matter what. I think it's cool that he potentially is involved. We'll see where it really goes. The thing about the
it's called the Cadillac of F1 teams, the rise to become the Cadillac of F1.
It's so confusing.
Their drivers will be like the Cadillac of F1
Cadillac of F1 drivers.
We can bring that statement back and apply it to everything now.
Which the problem is, though, that could quickly become a joke too.
I'm sure it will be.
In our meme culture. If they're not the fastest two drivers on the grid, that's going to be, well, here's your Cadillac F1 drivers.
That's true.
Which is all bad. Look
That's
out, guys.
true.
It can only get worse from here. I'm very curious to see where it goes.
That could be used against them in a negative way.
Be careful of anything that's the Cadillac. There was a time period where the actual tagline was standard of the world. That's why everybody said the Cadillac of whatever. It used to be Cadillac, standard of the world. And who knew it was actually kind of mattering in racing. Pretty crazy.
Great couple of car debates for this round, for this episode. We've got first Dustin writing to us asking if he wants the Viper Sting.
Okay. All right.
Vipers don't sting, though, do they? It's more of a bite.
Well, I don't know. I agree.
We'll go with Sting.
I agree. Yes. He's mixing his Stingray and his Viper ideas into one thing. But
okay, that's fine.
He's asking the question. He's 30 years old, married, 3 kids. He currently has a 2024 Honda Pilot and a 2023 Tesla Model Y Performance, 3 car seats in each. As you can obviously tell, neither of those are anything like a Viper. Prior to the Tesla, the first car he ever had that he purchased from a dealership was a 2017 Civic Si Coupe. Sold it before the 3rd child was born because, again, they have a Pilot and a Model Y Performance with 3 car seats in each vehicle. Wow. Okay. So he understands that those are not going to be enthusiast cars. He's decided he wants another enthusiast car experience. He said he practically grew up inside his dad's C5 Z06. Apparently he slept in there and he just liked it a lot. So he has a background in performance cars. He's curious about getting a 3rd vehicle that is just fun. Again, we have 2. I want to hit this one more time. We have 2 vehicles, each of which have 3 car seats in them. That means this family owns 6 car seats. Okay? I'm just putting it out there. 6 car seats, probably a lot of stroller variants.
Yeah,
There's a lot of plastic going on in this house.
Okay.
So this is the exact opposite. They want a 2-seater, no storage space, performance. That's where we start. And all of a sudden he goes, I think I want a Viper.
Dustin and his family are in Arizona, so that could work year-round. And Dustin practically grew up in his dad's C5 Corvette Z06. He writes, Then, because he thinks he wants the Viper, it's because it's Corvette's rival. They seem rowdy, exciting, giant V10, and coming from motorcycles, he's fine with discomfort. He finds humor in the Viper's compromises.
That is an incredibly tactful sentence.
He has no problem getting a vehicle with little creature comforts. So Dustin's budget is a soft max of $60,000, pushing it for a Viper. He's just not sure which one to get. So I have other options for you, Dustin, but it sounds like we need to choose which Viper variant that you're getting.
Yes, I agree. That is certainly part of this. And he says he likes the original RT10. He thinks it's beautiful. This one is the RT10. It was the one that barely came out of the shed, and sometimes the build quality was a bit questionable, and they didn't even offer it with a roof. It came in full-time Targa. There was a little like snap-on roof thing that was available apparently, which was hysterically bad.
I'd still like to drive this car.
I would too.
Still am intrigued.
This is the original Viper, but build quality was not its gift. There was no benefit to being anything but in perfect weather. But he said, here we are in Arizona, and frankly, it's too hot for a full-time convertible. And I'm sure you're right. The other part of it is we actually have some people that we know that have Vipers, including somebody on our Discord named Nate that's got one, and they are notorious for a staggering amount of heat generated.
Can't imagine why.
From the V10 and the huge transmission tunnel and the pipes below the doors.
Right there.
It's all heat. So now you have a car that's generating a ton of heat while you have no roof while you're in Arizona. He said that's not going to work. There are 3 basic gens. You have the first gen. You have the second gen GTS, which is actually, that's actually not even right. The second gen is the SRT10, and then the third gen is the crazy, crazy one at the end. But what you have to know, I've got a middle picture in here of the GTS that most of us are picturing that is the Viper, that is the late version of the first gen. They did the Porsche thing with the Vipers. They have like a .2. There's 3 official generations where it was a full redo, but there is a second half of each generation that is a major refinement. So you can also almost think about it as like 5 generations of the car, because the first 2 generations had major changes halfway through.
Yep.
But the one he wants is this one that you're all picturing. Even if you can't see right now, I know what you're picturing. You're picturing a blue Viper with white stripes and the flowing coupe back. That's the one he wants.
The double bubble roof.
Yes, that's the one he wants. That is signature, the definitive Viper. It's
the best looking
late 90s, early 2000s is the generation for that. That's the one we're all picturing. The problem is, because we're all picturing it, is the one everybody wants, and those typically run, I looked them up today on Auto Tempest, bring at least $100,000. If you want a good one, it's $130,000. The RT10s are cheap. They have no roof and weren't built that well.
So what's 60? What Viper is 60?
That's the thing. He can get into the generation after this. This is a late first gen. He can get into the SRT10s, which is this refinement that frankly is my least favorite generation of this car.
Still got the cool double bubble, and it's still got the proportions and surfaces, but somehow it doesn't have the sexy flowing fenders.
It doesn't flow as
that
well.
97, 98 GTS did.
Yeah. So this is the one they could afford, and that's they are the least desirable generation of them, like behind the RT10, which is only for specific people. So this is the one he could afford. This is the generation that Nate on our Discord has, and he loves it. Okay, and you can get the early ones or the late ones. They didn't even make them in 07. Like 03 to 06 is one version, and then they did the revision, and then 08 to I think 2010 they did another version. So a lot of revisions, kind of like the Porsche .2 idea, but big old V10 and side pipes, everybody.
Yeah.
You can burn your leg on the early ones on the side pipes. You got to be really careful. The interiors slowly start to catch up, but air conditioning is a big thing with these. You got to make sure the air conditioner works because it's generating an awful lot of heat, and you're in Arizona. So they could get one of these.
Drive it at 2 a.m.
I guess.
After a thunderstorm.
I have to say the last gen is the last one I ever drove. I drove one of the earlier ones, the SRT ones. I never drove the GTS, which I would love to drive. And I got to drive this last gen that they just stopped making on track a few years ago. And it's a beast. And I have to admit, as much as I like super small, light cars, this is my guilty pleasure car.
See, I also knew this would resonate with you because you've had like 2% of you thinking about Vipers.
The same part of you that wants to buy a big overlanding truck is the part of me that just stands and just stares at a Viper for an hour. If they had those at SEMA, you'd get lost in the truck section. I'd just get lost in the Viper section.
Todd's over by the Viper.
Do I need a Viper? I don't. Would I like it? Possibly not, but I just want one. And these late gen ones are fantastic, and I'm a big fan of them, but I like all the Vipers. The big question for all of this, though, is that really what you want. And my number one question for you, Dustin, is have you driven any of them? Because I don't get the vibe from this email he's ever driven a single one.
I don't get that sense either. He's looking for big power manual, no need for back seats, not particular about the age of the car, but something unique and special and exotic if possible. I went after the discomfort part, Dustin.
Oh, look at you. Okay.
That resonated with me like crazy because nobody writes to us with discomfort is like my top priority. Like, make me uncomfortable.
Everything else is comfortable in my life, except for the fact I have 3 kids in 3 car seats at one time. But yeah, there's no discomfort going on. And that's a great point. I like it. Yeah.
You know what car was uncomfortable?
Look at you.
The C6 ZR1. I looked up our video. This is our video. It's still on our channel from 13 years ago, if you can believe it now.
Yes.
It's our understanding that shortly after we drove this car, Top Gear, I think America had this, and it was crushed because it was totaled.
I think they damaged it quite badly.
This car doesn't exist anymore.
Yes.
But speaking of discomfort, I recall distinctly, we drove this car and got into it, and then I think both you and I were sort of reluctant to admit to each other that we kind of hurt our shoulders. We
hurt our necks
ourselves because of the 30 to whatever ending speed you end up at, 30 to 90, 30 to 120, whatever that was.
Yes.
You're in second or third gear, and we decided, what'll she do? Stomp on it.
Like
Let's
you do.
find out.
Yeah.
And we both hurt our necks and our shoulders just from the sheer force.
We weren't prepared at the time. We have become better trained, but we were not prepared at the time.
Definitely not prepared at the time, but this I have fond memories of.
I like it, yep.
Cool car. Remember, it showed off the engine under the acrylic plate in the hood.
Yes, they put a clear engine cover on the nose of a car. That is not common.
Dustin, even though this is a Corvette, you grew up with your dad's C5 Z06. This is the next step after that, so it would be very familiar. And now, guess what? Your kids would grow up in a Vette with you. That'd be pretty cool. But I kept pushing.
Okay.
I kept pushing towards more discomfort.
Okay. All right, great. What else?
And so I decided that maybe you should go consider something like a Cobra replica. There's Kirkham, there's Superformance, there's Factory 5, there's Backdraft. There's a ton of builders.
Do the Daytona ones. Those are the best.
You could do the Daytona. Factory 5 builds a great one.
Buy somebody's finished one. That's what you want to do, yeah.
Shelby Cobra also has side pipes that you can burn yourself severely on. It's really loud, uncomfortable. You're not protected from anything. The Daytona I like because of Arizona. I like the Daytona version.
Well, and I just like the way that looks so much. It's fantastic looking, yeah.
We drove Haggerty's car a few years ago, and we're very uncomfortable, but I think both you and I really liked it. It was 2,400 pounds.
It was fantastic to
with
drive.
the lowest power engine.
Yeah.
It was thunderous to drive. It was so loud, and those were the quiet pipes.
It had the quiet pipes, and I beg to differ. Those are not quiet. If there were louder pipes than that, we're going to rend the universe. You and I were wearing ballistic quality actual earplugs to survive being in that car.
The kind you screw in your ear.
Yes, the crazy ones that you can't hear the person next to you talking, and the car is still thundering through. Yeah, definitely need quieter pipes.
So there you go. That's my choice for you, is to go get a Shelby Cobra replica, because with half that amount, you can go find one that is just raucous. It is insane. And once you take people for a ride, I mean, it's the original discomfort recipe, is how I looked at it.
Right.
So,
and the
that's
Viper,
my choice for you.
That's excellent. And the Viper is a carryover, if you want to think about it, of taking the idea of the Cobra and bringing it forward in time. That was part of the inspiration for the Viper originally. Let's make a new Cobra idea. And that was the thing that they were doing there. I have to
save your money.
My gosh.
Make you even more deaf. Your left calf is permanently tattooed with some sort of weird burn mark.
Everybody climbs. We did it on the Cobra. You climb out and you burn your calf, and you like walk around like a badge of honor. Like, look what I did. So I kind of feel like you're going to wind up in a Viper. By the way, I found in my Viper research the most ridiculous Viper ever. And for those of you that cannot see this picture, I will describe it. It is a late RT10 permanent convertible stretched more than double its original length into a fully convertible limo. And this is currently for sale for $143,000. and it is a 4-seat limo. 2 seats up front, 2 seats all the way at the back.
What's in the middle part? Is there a hot tub?
I
or
don't
something?
know. I'd have to see enough photos, but there are 2 seats all the way in the back, and in between it's not even a door. It's just body panel. This is more than twice the length of
you just
a
Dukes of
normal
Hazzard
Viper.
your way into the back of the...
Well, there's no roof, so there's nothing to stop you from just falling over the side. So anyway, I had to show that Viper. But this brings me back to actually...
I can't believe somebody built that.
Isn't that fantastic? And they're trying to sell it for over for 6 figures, which is crazy, $140,000. Anyway, Dustin, I actually went somewhere that Paul went, and then I went somewhere else because we are looking for fun first.
Mm-hmm.
You said unique. You're not worried about the comfort level, but you want performance that's a little dangerous. And I went C7 Corvette Z06.
It's even good. They're
with the
probably, what,
supercharger.
60, 65,000?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And
that's
the reason I
great.
thought of this
That's
is
great.
because the conversation you're having about the RT10 is it's the one that interests you, but there's no top. And the great thing about Corvettes, and specifically this Z06, the great thing about Corvettes is if you don't get the convertible, they are also a Targa.
Yeah, true.
So the Z06 has a full Targa panel you could take out and put in the back if you have just a perfect moment in Arizona where the weather's perfect. But the rest of the time you can drive it with a great air conditioner and a full top on. So because you haven't driven any of the Vipers, to our knowledge, it doesn't appear you've driven a lot of them. I wonder if this is what you're looking for in a Viper, but in a car you're actually going to use and love all the time. And I think this is a little bit better looking than that second-gen SRT10 version of the Viper.
It is. It certainly is.
So that's a very cool one.
It's a sweet car.
I do like that. It also is a
car.
lot better looking than the limo version of the first gen. Anyway, I had to go back.
Your Uber is arriving. What?
You know what? I'm going to walk. I'm fine. So there's that. But then I had one other one because you're talking about you want powerful, unique, 2 seats. You're intrigued by the Viper because of the V10. You like manual transmission, all these kind of things. I thought, wait a minute. You know what another possibility is here that is actually in his price point is an Audi R8. And you could get it in convertible. And the convertible for the R8, and again, I know that you're not necessarily leaning convertible, but you're kind of curious about it because of the RT10. The thing about an Audi,
You could still get a V10.
You could get a V10. There's that possibility. But even if you get the V8, that is a unique car with a good engine, a good gearbox. That is a fun car to drive around in any condition on the road. It's just very, very fun. And the convertibles are a nice lined convertible. That's one of those convertibles, those cabriolet style, very nice lined convertible tops where if it is hot outside, you could close that convertible top and you're going to be shielded from the weather and the heat and all that. Much better than you would in your typical convertible. A lot better than the RT10 snap-on thing they had. Anyway, so whether you go R8, V8, or V10, if you can pull it off, I think this is unique enough. And maybe in convertible, even all the variants that you want. I think an R8 would work here if you don't go Viper. But my biggest thing for you, Dustin, is take every opportunity you can to drive the Viper. Because I feel like you've lionized it as this is what I want. But it's 2025, man. They stopped making the Viper a few years ago because people quit buying them.
Yeah.
And it's more raucous a car than I think anybody is ready for most of the time now.
Dustin,
so are the compromises really things you're okay with? I just wonder.
I mean, you're leaning towards my next thought, and Dustin, you've brought up the Viper now, and that is Ford has the Mustang GTD. Corvette has the ZR1X. There used to be the Viper, and even though we were told the Viper is no more after the 3rd generation, it's going away forever, are we sure?
I agree.
Are we sure that Viper couldn't come back? I don't care how it comes back. I don't care what it looks like. It doesn't have to look like this. It doesn't have to be a V10. It can be now anything. I think if Dodge brought the Viper back, I've heard rumblings they're bringing the Hellcat engines back as well.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. It could be a V8 Hellcat, something, the new generation, and reintroduce the performance lineup of sports cars with the Viper that comes back.
Make it the SRT Halo again. Yeah,
front engine, mid-engine, I don't care. Send your drawings to Multimatic just like Ford did so they can build it. It's a Viper body shell and it's a race car underneath. Absolutely. I think there's a huge opportunity and I do think there's a market for Viper to come back.
And now that the
modernized.
market is shifting, I think there might be a place for it that makes sense. I'd love for it to be back in the lineup. I really did like those 3rd gens. I thought they were fantastic. I liked the interior, I liked the exterior. The power was amazing. I would actually own a 3rd gen unapologetically, even though the GTS is of the late 90s, early 2000s. That's the iconic Viper. That is the one. the blue with white stripes. It's the way you want it. But the late model ones are so great, but they're still $150,000. They're way up there. The really nice ones are much more than that.
Because of the auction results that we found. They're just sitting around waiting to be sold
waiting
again.
To be auctioned with plastic on the seats. Woohoo!
Okay, so I see your garages. Elise, maybe a Mira, Phaeton, Viper. What else? What else?
I am a confused person. I am very confused.
That's a nice dynamic range.
It is.
There's a lot of
lot going on there for sure.
Dustin, thank you for writing. Write to us everydaydrivertv@gmail.com for all your Topic Tuesdays, car conclusions, and these really cool debates. Our second debate today comes from Michael and Olga. Michael writes to us that his father is a Tesla fanboy.
The title here is The Family Tesla Dumping Ground. I mean, that is not a good opener. I was like, where is this going when I started reading this? Yeah.
Michael says that every 2 years, his dad replaces his Tesla, and Michael always ends up with it.
So you get the cast-offs when your dad decides to upgrade.
You've heard of hand-me-down. I had a lot of hand-me-down clothing from my cousin.
Yes, I got hand-me-down stuff. I did not get a hand-me-down Tesla every 2 years. Actually, I did get a hand-me-down Caprice Classic, so I have I have to defend myself, I guess, a little bit, yeah.
Michael's had a Model 3 dumped on him, and now a Model Y. He loves his dad. Hello, Michael's dad. But these cars, Michael's dad, are not for Michael.
He says they are not for me and they have no soul. He needs personality and character. He wants to get in a car every time with a smile and an evil laugh, knowing good times and possible trouble will follow. Well, that's the reason your dad's giving you a Tesla. He's like, calm down.
How about a Viper?
Calm down. Yeah, exactly.
Talk about a smile and an evil laugh.
Totally agree, yes.
Michael is looking for a small, lightweight sports car with a DCT or auto that is rear-wheel drive. His wife, Olga, needs to be able to drive this car whenever she needs, and she has no interest in learning a manual. MX-5 Miatas are compromised with automatics, and the GR86 auto is blah.
So those are out. Okay, good.
What else is there under $40,000 that is really good? Michael has owned the Mini Cooper S, the Subaru RS Impreza wagon, and the Focus RS.
Okay.
But he needs the fun back in driving. He says Teslas are not bad cars. They're just lifeless transportation. He needs bright colors, G-forces on succulent curves, and a laugh for every mile.
I really like this, Michael. This is very, very fun. That's very cool. I have to ask the elephant in the room question, because you and I beat on these cars a lot. Have you actually driven the latest GR86 and MX-5 in auto? Have you driven them in auto?
I mean, he called it blah.
I know this is the reputation that, you said the MX-5 in auto is compromised and the 86 is blah. Have you driven them in anger on a good road? If you did a test drive, 3 blocks around a neighborhood of the dealer where you are, honestly, the 86 is blah on a normal test drive. Even in manual.
Fair.
It's just, that's not where it shines. So I do want to know if you've driven both of those cars recently in automatic, and that's where your conclusions come from, or are you kind of gleaning that from an around-the-block test drive? That's my concern, because both of those cars, you've said $40,000 or under, automatic, rear-wheel drive, and the key thing here is small, lightweight sports car. That's really hard to find when you throw 86 and MX-5 out the window.
For those of you who can't see me, I am steepling my fingers.
You are looking quite evil right now. I have some ideas too, but
because I have my shot. I'm calling my shot, Michael.
Ooh.
I did a quick search on Auto Tempest. I was right. Every single one of them, well, one or two exceptions, but pretty much every single one. The Toyota GR Supra 2.0, the 4-cylinder with the automatic. Look at the list. They're all high 30s. They're under 40,000. It's the car for you. It's the one. It's not as light as the GR86 or the Miata. It's not the super lightweight, but we did find the handling, that steering feel, to be a little bit more interesting than the 3.0 because the engine is pretty much a mid-engine, as I recall. It's not,
and it's a smaller engine,
almost front mid-engine.
Yeah,
and it's smaller, lighter weight front end.
Watch our comparison. We have a comparison on our main channel, which is the two Supras compared
Look
back
at all
to
the
back.
price. Okay, here's one for $40,000. Here's another one, 2021, $40,000.
But what you're finding is that $40,000 is the top of the market. That's what you're finding.
There was one in here I found that was like 45, and I think they're dreaming, but whatever. People can ask whatever they want. But look at the list on Auto Tempest.
Yeah, that's
for
great.
Nice ones, low miles, 43,000. There's a long list.
You're right. There's a ton.
Yeah,
of
here's the $45,000.
Yeah,
the
pick your
yellow
color.
one.
I mean, the
47,000
yellow
miles.
is
You're
desirable.
dreaming.
I get it, but it's not happening. That's funny that you went there because this was my
is the
first
list.
thought too.
Really? The 2.0?
Absolutely. I've got other ideas, but I thought, you know what? You do have the Supra 2-liter with the Z8 transmission.
I'm
Awesome.
seeing 39,000,
Yes.
37,000.
Low
all of these are
miles, all the colors choices. I love that list on Auto Tempest. That's a fantastic list. Everything you want right there.
38,000 miles, 38 grand,
Yep.
41,000. That is the sweet spot, and I think she'd love it.
Mm-hmm.
You could also consider the Z4 if you wanted a drop top. I did not check prices on those because I'm so hot about the 2.0, but I started at Nissan Z, then I went to BMW 2 Series, and it hit me like a freight train. Supra 2.0. That's your car. That's my shot.
I think that's excellent. It's a heck of a sniper shot. I think you've done really, really well. I have a couple other ideas, but that is on my list. I mean, you see, I brought up a yellow picture of it because I had to show you the best possible color that car comes in is that yellow. And
it is good.
You had them right there on your list. So the Supra 4-cylinder cannot be denied. I think I have to come up with some other ones. First off, there's the elephant in the room car, and that is the Boxster or the Cayman.
Yeah.
I have to bring it up. I can't
yeah.
ignore it. Look, these are the same similar weights, power, all these kind of things to the Supra that we're talking about. You could go and find a Boxster or a Cayman. Do you want a drop top or not? You could go find a Boxster or a Cayman at your price point. It's got 987s all day long, probably some 981s. That's a first or second gen Cayman. You could find them for this. Now you're getting into PDK, which is a nice dual clutch instead of just a normal automatic. They are superb. I can't not mention them because they would be like, why didn't you mention those at all? So that's on there as a list. You mentioned the Z4. I think the Z4, these are the last two generations. The current generation is obviously the convertible version of the Supra. The generation before that, I think, got slept on. I don't think it's an amazing car, but it had a hardtop convertible.
That's true.
Styling that is aging really, really well.
You can still get it with a 3.0.
And if you want to drive, if it's your street car, fun car, I think that's where it's great.
Yeah.
So I think pick your generation of the Z4. You get a Z4 all day long. And again, I think you could save some money, wind up in a hardtop Z4 convertible and really, really like it. And it would have a decent automatic in it as well. That is all good options. I have one wild card here.
Oh, you do?
I have a wild card. And it's a wild card because his budget stops where these start.
Okay.
Okay.
But we have to explore the fringes always if we have the idea.
Small, lightweight, rear-wheel drive, 2-seat, fun car. This is a hard list,
This is
especially when you
difficult
go when you go lightweight.
Okay.
Automatic required.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Yeah.
We need to go Alpha 4C. The market for those starts at 40 grand and goes to 60. So you're
they
right.
Start at 40. So the lowest price.
Yeah, like the low ones on Auto Tempest are running like 38 grand.
What kind of mileage were you seeing?
I mean, the low one, literally the lowest one on there was high 30s and it was 100,000 miles. And I was like, good for you.
That's what I want to know, is how far have people driven these things? Are they good? Are they reliable?
The 4C shines best on the road as a car you're going to drive on the road for fun. That's where it's best. Now, you could get the super perfect one that's got no miles and it's 60, 65 grand. But I think if you were going to spend between, I think if you were going to spend between 40 and 50, you could get yourself a 4C you would love. It has manual steering. It has an automatic gearbox. It actually sounds really great. It's unique. It is so the opposite of the two SUVs you have in your life. You're looking for an event car that is small and light. I think 4C is a real contender. It's just slightly above the budget.
I'm all about blowing the budget, especially if you like them. Okay, so at least drive the 4C so you have that knowledge in your hip pocket and and then you've got some other choices here too. But I like the BMWs. I mean, the prior gen Z4 is really good looking.
I really think
sexy.
Like the first gen Z4, I think the styling is coming into its own over time. I think it was fine when it came out, and you look at it now and you're like, that's a great looking car. Also helps
flame surfacing is cool.
It also helps the fact that BMWs have gotten wildly unattractive. So you look back and you go, well, that was a great looking car. What happened after that?
20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. All right. Well, happy hunting, Michael. Family Tesla dumping zone.
I'm sorry that you keep getting Teslas dumped on you. But anyway, all right.
Really appreciate your email. Write to us. We're looking forward to hearing from you. everydaydrivertv@gmail.com.
Since you're listening to us, you'll end up shopping for your next car. And when you do, you need Autotempest.com.
Any car, anywhere, at any price. Auto Tempest searches all the major car listing sites on the web, local or nationwide. And Auto Tempest has recently added price history for every car listed, so you can see how prices are trending and know if you found a good deal. You can also create search alerts and lists of saved searches, so you can find your perfect spec even easier the next time.
Search on any device, in your browser, or as an app for Apple or Android. New, used, or unexpected, Auto Tempest is how we search for cars. Go to autotempest.com/everyday so they know we sent you. Auto Tempest, all the cars, one search.
We've got a couple of car conclusions, starting off with one from Jay writing to us in regards to a recent episode 998. Jay writes to us that you can cure the preciousness problem by hitting your car with a hammer.
Talk about a provocative headline. We read that, it was like, this is going to need to be unpacked for sure. Yep.
Jay, thank you for the book. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to get through your email quickly.
It's very lengthy, yes.
He writes, the most expensive car in his family fleet is a 2021 Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid minivan. They brought their 4 nieces and nephews under 7 into their lives, and nothing out. Minivan's a minivan. So they bought it new at the height of the COVID supply crunch, and then they proceeded to do all of the things. He describes it as the van jumped on every grenade that a family hauler of small kids can jump on.
Well, the problem is you're dealing with 4 nieces and nephews that are now under your roof, which obviously I can see why you got a minivan. But then when you and your wife went shopping, as we already said, it was the price hike of COVID. So you either buy it for what we say on the lot or please go away. So they got no dollars off. And wouldn't you know it, because they were buying a minivan they knew they were going to use so much, his wife wanted every option.
Oh.
So this was essentially a $60,000 minivan before any EV credits. And so the only good thing is he has got the nice minivan that he doesn't have to be precious with. So they got all the stuff, even the quilted seats. But he is accepting
like a dirty dish towel.
Yes, he is accepting the fact that
out.
All the little kids are going to wreck it, and they have. The 22-year-old son was moved to college in the back of it, and the day they got him to college, he underestimated the turning circle and ground the side down in an underground parking lot. We've all been there, and it is the worst. He has had his own issues with it. So he said his wife has hit the front fender on a brick pillar of their carport twice. Not once, twice. Here's the thing. The first time you do it, I'm really sorry. The second time you do it, you're like, didn't you know that was there? We've done this already.
We talked about this.
Yeah, this happened already. And I say this because we've all had those moments. Anyway, so this van is doing exactly what it wants to do. But then he goes into stories of other cars he's had. He had a fun car for a while that was a 2007 SL 550 Mercedes-Benz. That cost him a fraction of what it did to get the minivan. He's put a lot of maintenance upgrades into it.
Minivan's the most expensive.
Yeah.
That's awful.
He is much more precious with the old Benz that he owns, which is fascinating. He bought it for a third of the price of the minivan. He takes it on a big summer road trip every year. He tries to do the Blue Ridge Parkway from Boston to Atlanta with a stop at Tail of the Dragon. What a great road trip that sounds like.
Yeah, that's
We didn't get to do much of Blue Ridge Parkway, but it was one of those things where I started tracing it on the map, and I realized how much of the U.S. we could do on one road, and I was like, that's its own film. And the problem is also Blue Ridge Parkway, in some cases, the speed limit is quite low, so we'd have to figure that out. But he has driven major road trips. He calls it his automotive therapy. His wife does as well. He had a deer hit the side of the car. He just had paintless dent removal taken out. He keeps driving and he keeps loving it. He's resolved that he's going to he is just going to test himself with having a car that he simultaneously drives and is precious with keeping nice and is willing to let stuff happen to it. It's a balancing act. He's like juggling all those things. Meanwhile, the van with the quilted leather is being infested by kids. So this brought him to. I'm telling.
Infested.
There is an age where that is the best word. There is an age where that's the best word. It's just
so funny.
It's just a hive of little people that go in and destroy everything. They chew it all down. They're almost like locusts. They just chew everything down and then they leave. I'm sorry.
What are you doing back there?
Yes.
Stop doing that.
There are not enough
digging through the side of the van with some piece of.
There's not enough convex mirrors in the world to see everything the kids are doing. But this reminds him of long ago. He was working at a car dealer selling Toyotas, and a guy came in. Well, he was the salesman, and a guy came in and bought a brand new Avalon, loaded it out, bought a brand new Avalon.
Ooh, diamond white pearl.
It's that pearl white that Lexus sold for a while that actually has like a second flake in it that kind of looked more interesting. This was all the bells and whistles catalog.
Wow.
And when they were done, the guy said, "So we're done, right? The car's mine?" And he said, "Yeah, we're done." And the guy said again, "Really? Are you sure? Are you sure that's it?" He just finished transferring all this stuff from his old car to his new car.
Paperwork's
Are you sure
done,
we're finished? There's nothing else
money.
to go? No, we're absolutely good. That's fine. And the guy said, "Great." And he walked back to the stuff he just put in the trunk and pulled out of the stuff in the trunk a hammer and walked over to the rear quarter panel and smacked the rear quarter panel of his brand new car while still sitting on the dealer lot, down low on the rear quarter panel, put a quarter-sized dent, top of a hammerhead, in his car. And in this moment, Jay is just standing there dumbfounded, and the guy looked at him deadpan and said, "I wanted to put the first ding in it myself," and got in it and happily drove away. And Jay's point is, if you dinged it yourself when you expected it, now everything after that doesn't hurt as bad. There's some merit here, but this still hurts to hear.
Jay, you're right. There is merit. That is, I'm trying to imagine me doing that. I'm trying to imagine because I want to agree with it. I want to say, yeah, totally.
Great idea.
I bought the new name other hot, fun sports cars. Porsche, new Cayman, and I take out a hammer? Yeah.
People are like dogpiling to keep you away from the car. Yeah.
No. It's like that paper towel commercial trying to dive.
Yes, we're trying to get there. Oh.
No, I understand. That is admirable. Jay is telling all of us, Todd and I, all of you listening, all of you watching, to get the hammers out. I'm still not sure I'm all the way there, but I
can't be there. I love the sentiment.
What you're doing. But I guess the hammer equivalent for me would be miles. Putting miles on, driving, doing the road trips, getting out there, doing the driving, because then I can enjoy the car. And then it still hurts. Dings, windshield chips, even though I know windshields can be replaced and fixed and all this stuff.
Well, you hear
even
stuff,
dents can be pulled out. I know all that stuff. I know it in my heart, and I know it really doesn't matter, and it's just a car, right? But
it's hard. Well, when we do these big road trips, invariably you hear stuff hitting the nose of the car, and you know some of that stuff is going to leave a mark, even with PPF, and you just have to go, yeah, but I'm doing this. I'm out here, and this is the side effect of doing the driving. What's crazy here is Jay's story reminded me of something. I don't even know where this came out of my head. It was one of those memories of massively buried away. I went to a high school where it was a very nice private high school in Houston. I was kind of the poor kid, but I was glad to go there. Looking back, I was glad to go there. But anyways, high school. I had a friend in high school who was quite popular with many of the ladies.
Okay.
And so he was, played all the sports teams and everything, but he was a good friend of mine. But I grew up in Texas. Keep that in mind. I grew up in Texas, all right? And there was this little gaggle of girls that wanted to impress this guy. And so they went in together and bought him a pair of very nice high-end cowboy boots. Okay? It's Texas.
Okay.
And they presented, just go with it, it's Texas.
Okay.
They presented him with this at school one day, these really nice boots. And I was not a guy that was wearing boots, even though, of course, I owned a pair because it was Texas. I was not wearing boots at the time, but I knew enough to know that this was an expensive pair of boots that they'd gotten him. I forget, there was some sort of, I forget it was his birthday, but there was some sort of catalyst as to why they decided to get him.
A group of girls bought him.
Like 2 or 3 girls went in together and bought him a pair of these boots. And
hoping for what result?
I do not know. It was a long time ago.
Okay. No, okay.
But just
all right, continue.
To stay in his circle.
On
I don't
we go.
know what it was.
All right.
And he pulled these boots on, and they were very excited. They were very nice boots. He pulled these boots on and promptly walked to the edge of the parking lot, went over to the curb, and proceeded to kick the boots against the curb to create a bunch of scuffs.
Okay.
He's had them on for less than 30 seconds. They were perfect coming out of the box.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sitting here without a gaggle of girls buying me anything, going, what are you doing? And it was this exact same headspace.
Were the girls watching this happen?
Yes, they watched it happen.
And then what happened?
He came back so nonchalantly. Of course, he got away with it. Came back so nonchalantly and made this exact same point. He was like, if you wear boots regularly, and these deserve to be worn regularly, they're going to get scuffed and wrecked and screwed up. They're never going to be as perfect as they were coming out of the box. So I'm just going to do it now so I don't have to worry about it. And he wore those boots for a long time
Sure.
afterward. I got the concept. It's the exact same thing as the hammer in the
good story.
the fender. I had totally forgotten about this
a
story
good
until I read this
story.
and I went, "Oh my gosh, I remember when Bill did that." And I've got it playing back in my head going, he really just pulled him right out of the box in front of the girls and just bought him and scuffed him. At the time I was like, I want to crawl in a hole on your behalf. But he was like, no, they're going to get scuffed anyway. I'm just going to do it now.
I mean, I totally get that. It's not a $34,000 car or something more expensive.
It isn't, but still.
And it was a gift. And once you give somebody a gift, they can do whatever they want.
You got to
with
hang
your
on for
gift.
the ride. Yes, exactly.
It's now theirs.
Yeah.
But don't Texans have like the dinner boots and the nice
Yes.
going out boots?
Yes,
and
agreed.
And the ranch boots.
Yes,
and
of
the
course they do. Uh-huh.
mid-level boots for other.
I knew a guy in
activities.
Texas that had that, but with Crocs.
Yeah, I remember.
Told you the story before.
Yeah,
he had his
the Crocs.
hang out at home Crocs, his go to the grocery store Crocs, his nice dinner Crocs. The last time I saw him, he said to me with a straight face as we left a very nice restaurant, he said, "Yeah, I had to put on my good Crocs for you." And I was like, "I'm sorry, that's a sentence that shouldn't exist. There should be no such thing as I brought out the good Crocs. That is not a thing."
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
you want to have Crocs, that's fine, but there's no such thing as the good Crocs. Anyway, these were not the good boots, and then they were scuffed, and we're moving on.
Thanks for writing. We're moving on to car conclusion number 2 from Lauren H. in northern Idaho. She's 61 years old and owns a 2002 Miata. She's had it for 12 years and is in complete love with it. She
love it. That's
absolutely
great.
loves it.
Fantastic.
So recently, a friend of Lauren's contacted her about selling her year 2000 Boxster, which Lauren couldn't believe. So she jumped at the chance and then happened across our show that compared the two. They look very similar, made her decide to hold on to her Miata and get the Boxster. So thanks for the comparison.
So now she has both? That's crazy. Lauren, I
Both,
love this.
baby.
I love this. And I actually do have questions for you. Thank you for sending this in as a car conclusion. You didn't actually ask us a car debate, but our stuff helped you buy a Boxster and hang on to your Miata. And I have a real genuine question for you, or questions for you. We may never know the answer, but I want you to ponder this. You are now a serious minority in our audience and in the car world in that you own 2 fun cars.
Mm-hmm.
2 fun cars. But they are 2 fun cars that, let's be honest, are designed for the same purpose. Small, lightweight, convertible back road driving.
different dynamics, engine in a different place though.
Technically,
they do different
yes.
things.
You have both. I would love to know, Lauren, what are your takeaways after a year?
Mm-hmm.
Which one, if you walk out of the house, are you more likely to jump into? Which one is the one you would drive in any condition? It's raining, it's snowing, it's nasty. Which one are you jumping in? And if someone said to you right now you have to sell one of them, which would it be? Those are my questions for Lauren. I'd love for you to get back at some point after you've had these cars a year, but I just love you have them both. That's awesome.
The dinner fork exists right next to the salad fork. You could use the fork for either one.
You could.
It's just a fork. You could use it for everything. Dessert,
yes.
salad, don't care.
It is
one
an eating
fork.
utensil. You could just keep eating with that utensil.
But, I do get it. There are different uses for different jobs. So good for you. I'm really thrilled. Thank you for writing that. Really encouraging to hear. And I love that you've got different days, both depending on your mood.
I'm going to do a Did You See This? And I'm going to try to do it no spoilers, but I am going to talk about this past weekend. I just went and saw the brand new James Gunn written and directed Superman movie.
Okay. All right.
This is...
Well, I haven't seen it yet, so...
And I'm going to stay out of spoilers for you.
All right.
This is the poster that I'm showing here of all of the various characters. There's a lot of characters in it. This is the reboot attempt by DC. Okay.
All right.
There's 2, if you aren't following along, there's 2 major comic book religions, if you will. There's Marvel and DC. All right.
Yep.
Marvel has been on a hot streak for nearly 2 decades. Some of the most successful movies ever. DC has struggled. DC's marquee characters are Superman and Batman. Okay. You've heard of both of those. Obviously, both of those different characters have been rebooted many, many, many times. So Zack Snyder was the filmmaker that was in charge of DC, and he made Man of Steel, and he was involved actually on the back end of Christopher Nolan finishing his Batman movies. He made his own Man of Steel Superman movies, and then there was the Justice League and Batman versus Superman, all this kind of stuff. All of them were very dark. I actually like some things about those very much, but they didn't really resonate that well, and DC's been struggling. So they hired James Gunn, who was famous for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
All
right.
And if you think about the Guardians of the Galaxy movie from Marvel, that has a dual tone. They're action-packed and kind of rousing and exciting, but they also have the music element and the comedy that not all of the Marvel movies have. They have a very distinct tone. So Warner Brothers hires James Gunn and his producing partner Peter Shafran to be the new heads to make all of the DC stuff feel right and light. Okay. So you already know this is going to be a lighter version of Superman than the Zack Snyder version.
Which I liked. I liked the Zack Snyder Supermans a lot.
The thing about Man of Steel, I'll stop there. Thanks for bringing that up, is because honestly, the first 2/3 of that movie are my favorite Superman movie ever. The back third is just punchy punch and is boring. But the first 2/3 is a fantastic movie. But here's, and I'm going to go totally personally now. I have always struggled to connect with the Superman character. He's one of my least favorite. He's one of the most iconic, but he's one of my least favorite comic book characters.
Okay, all right.
Because, now granted, as a little kid, the first comic book movie I ever saw was the original Christopher Reeve Superman. So it made a big impression.
Yeah.
And the music is still like embedded into my brain as a person, which is amazing. But the character is essentially a Boy Scout. I mean, he's sometimes referred to as a Boy Scout. He is good to a fault. And he often is so good, you don't see him struggle to be anything but just good.
Okay.
And that gets a little unrelatable at some point. It's like, because the secondary part of Superman, which the Zack Snyder Man of Steel really leaned into, is Superman at its core is an ongoing search for identity. You have this kid from another planet who lives here. Is he from there? Is he from here? There's nature versus nurture questions. And consistently, he keeps coming back to, who am I? It doesn't matter who makes the movie or tells the comic book story. He keeps coming back to, who am I? And what kind of person am I?
Okay, I can see that, yeah.
Zack Snyder made that kind of dark and brooding, which is a little more too much like Batman. I can understand that. But I liked that. I liked the way that he kind of delved into that struggle. This is interesting because this new Superman movie starts, and they reveal what I'm about to tell you in the first 30 seconds. This starts 3 years after Superman has revealed himself. Okay. So he doesn't start it as an origin story. He doesn't start it as people are just now discovering Superman exists, which is what Man of Steel was. This is Superman's been around for a bit.
Okay.
And now Lex Luthor, who is the key villain of Superman, is angry. He's had enough of 3 years of Superman worship. That's genesis of this storyline. So we're past, Superman exists. The whole world knows he exists. So he starts 3 years in, which is interesting. I have to say, I came into this movie wanting it to be good, not expecting to like it very much, and leaving having just had fun.
Okay.
It's not superb, but it's well done. It's well acted. This actor, David, that plays this Superman character, I think he's the best casting Superman ever. He's phenomenal. He also, as much as I like Henry Cavill, and I do, Henry Cavill is a physically small person. This guy's enormous. He is like head and shoulders above everybody else in the movie. He's actually genuinely over 6 feet tall, genuinely blue-eyed. So he has that Christopher Reeve thing about him where he stands out anyway. And then he happens to be Superman. So I think it's a very fun movie. There's the two problems that Superman always struggles with. Every movie, every storyline is ultimately, and I hate to say this is a character who doesn't have gadgets, who doesn't have grand plans he's thought up that he's executing. He tries really hard, and if it gets harder, he tries harder. It's just more grunt. I'm going to put more grunt, more effort behind the thing I was putting effort toward before.
Okay.
That's hard to deal with. And also because he's supposed to be invincible, if you want to have a really good villain, you have to give somebody his equivalent powers. Where do you get that person? Who are they? Where did they come from? There is and I'm not giving spoilers right now, there is a Superman power equivalent villain in this movie. And I feel like the reason for its existence is pretty thin. That's the only thing about the movie where I was like, really? That's where that person comes from? That's where we got a villain? There's some great villain stuff going on with Lex Luthor and other stuff, but the heavy, if you will, the bouncer that you hire to fight with Superman, because there's always that person, whether they're a monster from outer space or a guy, there's always the monster. The monster, I thought, raised questions of, well, hang on, wait a minute. We've got a whole storyline about where that guy, wait, hang on, we're just fighting him.
Are there more movies to make and more money to be earned?
Of course there is. Of course there is. And we'll see what happens if that.
Just like you told me, every Marvel character got its own film, and we could just do that in perpetuity, I guess.
The thing I have to say here is that my overall takeaway is I think this is really well cast, very well made and directed. And while I think it has its problems, I looked at my son when I was done. I was just like, that was fun. And he was like, you're right, it is. It was just fun. And I think that's the thing that James Gunn does better than a lot of filmmakers. And it's true of the Guardians films. It's true of a lot of his films, where even if it doesn't all work, you had fun watching. You just left happy. And that is, I think, a victory for the Superman movie. It had a very good opening weekend. I hope it does very well. I hope this is indicative of what's to come for DC, that they can be the non-Marvel. But, you've seen enough trailers to know that Superman has a dog.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of weird tonal changes in this movie, most of which work.
Will there be a dog movie and he frees all the kennels all over the planet? And it writes
the
itself.
Dogs are loose. It does write itself. It's terrifying. Good job on that. Yeah. So I don't know. So we'll see. I'd love for everybody to see it. And I'm just a huge fan of go to the theater, see a movie in the theater. There's very few moments that we get. I'm sorry, I'm preaching now, but the very few moments we get where we have a collective experience. Mm-hmm. And a movie is that. You're not watching it at home, so please don't be like the guy behind me who just wanted to comment about everything. Don't be that guy. You aren't at home. If you need to comment, stay home.
There's other people.
Stay home. This really goes back to the core of going to the actual theater with actual actors where you can't talk. It is that. Enjoy, laugh, clap, but go to the movie theater and Superman's worth it.
Moving on to some audience questions. We've had a few come into our email. I'm starting here with Eddie E., who asks if he is insane to think about spending $15,000 to $17,000 to paint his 2017 Jaguar F-Type R convertible in British Racing Green Metallic. The original color of the car is Storm Gray. Eddie, that sounds really cool, except when you bring up the $15,000 to $17,000 part, and I think, maybe you could just wrap it first to see if you're going to like it. Let's start with a wrap. Good. Wraps are expensive. It's probably going to be $5,000 just to wrap the car. But just think, for $15,000, you could wrap it 3 different times with 3 different colors.
Yes.
Because it sounds like a keeper. It sounds like the long-term car, and I love that you love it. But going as far to paint for that amount of money, if you told me it was going to be about $6,000, maybe $8,000, I'd have a bit more. I might back you. But at $17,000 to paint a car, I would say either shop for the car that you're looking for or sell this one, go shop for it, and add that to your budget.
Didn't they make them in green?
Didn't they already make them in BRG?
Maybe it's a green that they didn't make, but still, I take your point.
Maybe so.
You could find a wrap, though. I bet you could.
But start with a wrap. There are endless colors of wraps, and I'll bet you can get really close, and you might even find a shade that you like better that wasn't available in paint. So might I suggest go look at wraps, go to your local dealer, your installer, and look at the book, look at the selections, look at all the swatches, and you might find something that you might like better, and I can save you $10,000.
Yeah, probably.
Which means you could go buy a Miata or something else or anything else. Or
buy other cars. Why not? That's what we're
not
here
sure.
For sure, yeah. Greg's writing in as well. He says he thinks his next vehicle in the next couple of years, he'd really like it to be the Maverick Lobo.
Okay.
The street truck. The lowered. We're going to get excited about fast street trucks again.
Mini Trucking Magazine is coming back.
Totally. We're going to call us first because we certainly are the people. Yeah,
coming back.
So, but people have been saying to him, you know what? Just get a regular Maverick. Just go buy a normal Maverick. The Lobo's not going to be any faster. You may as well just get the usability of a normal Maverick. Why are you worrying about this? And he has to admit all of those points make sense. But then he says, you know what? I'm 60 years old. And I feel like I'm a kid stamping my foot and going, I just want it. And he's asking us if that's silly. Greg, have you listened to this podcast? We're going to back your play, buddy.
Absolutely.
The thing is, if you can afford to, and the car makes you happy, and the trim that doesn't make sense is the one that you go, yeah, but I just like it. Get it. Because the reverse thing's going to happen. You're going to buy a regular Maverick, and you're going to be sitting at a light one day, and somebody's going to pull up next to you in a Lobo, and you're going to go, dang it.
True.
That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
So even if, let's say you wait on the Lobo, and the Lobo comes out, and you only have it for a year, fine. If you're interested enough, go get one.
Greg, car companies are counting on all of us to say, I just want it. They're counting at the deal. They want all of us consumers to say that to ourselves in our hearts.
That's good.
But I just want it. That's what they're building cars to do, is pull money out of our wallets. Sometimes they're really good at it. Other times they're really bad at it. But when you find something that resonates, go get it. If you haven't bought it by now, you have permission. Give yourself permission. go get it. Load it up, man, drive it, enjoy it. Send photos when you do.
Yeah.
Moving on to Matthew Z, who is curious if we have ever tested a Volkswagen CC. Remember those?
Yeah, we have.
CC?
Yeah.
He's curious if it would make a good track car as a front-wheel drive car. It was his first car and remains his favorite car. He says, feel free to laugh. He just wants our thoughts. I will give it a compliment and say it is one of the better-looking Volkswagens ever.
It's good looking. Both
It's
both the
classy,
generations. Great
looking car.
Yes.
If they continued that, they could have a genuine Alfa, Giulia, or Genesis G70 competitor.
Ooh, that's high
Imagine
praise. That's
a
high
new
praise.
CC
Yeah.
that is along those lines. Shoot, they could even put a manual transmission, make it rear-wheel drive, and put some cool engine in it, and then
It's Volkswagen. They aren't going to do that. But I take your point.
then it'd be a Dodge.
Yes. It would then be a Dodge. Except, yeah, okay,
I don't
moving
know.
on. The thing is, this was actually one of the better MQB platform driving cars as well. I actually liked it. I'm going to say two things to you, Matthew. If this is a car that's not going anywhere, and you're going to go to a track day or a couple track days a year, then take the car you own and love. Just take it and drive it. Put decent tires on it. Put good brake pads from Power Stop or somebody on it. Put good high temp brake fluid so the brakes don't fade on you.
Yeah, for sure.
And go if you're going to do a couple track days a year. But if what you're writing, if the next step beyond this is, I'd like to get into tracking. I love this car. I'd like to make it a track car. That's my full stop for you. Do not do that.
Yep, agreed.
This is not a car for tracking. It's a car that can go to track and you would have fun because you love it and it's your car. But if you're thinking like, I'm going to get into track driving, I'll just bring my CC, you can. But you're holding yourself back and you should get something else.
Moving on, last question here from email. Lyle writes to us asking if he should join the dark side of modifications. He's got a 2019 370Z Nismo in black, manual transmission. He's not a big fan of mods, but is thinking about installing a short shifter in the car. What's our thoughts, pros, cons? If you're going to get into mods at all, I guess short shifter is a inexpensive place to start, but if we're going to mod, the very first place we start is tires. Well, actually, it's not true. It's a driver mod.
There is that.
Start with
There
yourself.
is driver instruction.
Get
yes.
better here
yes.
before you mod your car thinking that's going to make a better driving experience, because you're going to dump money in thinking, now I'm going to love my car again or love it more. And when it doesn't do it, I want you to have that driver upgrade first. Short shifters are cool. For what?
I mean, it can be nice. It'd be like, oh, cool. That's just a little tiny, but
Maybe so.
I
Maybe
agree.
that's just a satisfying little thing. But tires, brakes, driver mod, tires, brakes, in that order. Then think about the other mechanical stuff. Stay away from power until the very last. Never think about adding power. You don't need power. You need better stopping power, because you can go fast in pretty much any car. It's how your brakes do.
That's good. That's very good. We got a few questions from Instagram. I want to talk on a couple of those. Starting here with Bruce B. I'm going to totally reveal myself here. He says, other than our recent mileage run out video where we actually ran cars to see who'd run out first, have we ever run out of gas in a car? If so, was it your car, a press car, or other? I've had a couple of times this happened to me, but I'm going to tell on myself the most recent time it happened. And you remember this. This was in our Corvette C8. And we had driven it, and we had driven it to do a few things to actually film it. This was around Christmas time last year or something. Actually, I guess it was spring. And we'd driven it a few times, and we knew it was low on gas. And then I took it one more time, like a mile away, and got some additional shots, knowing it was low on gas, and parked it in your driveway. And the next time I came over for the podcast, I took it home. Now, I need you guys to understand, it is less than 10 miles between my house and Paul's. And the exit for my house is a straight shot. The freeway turns and the exit goes straight, and it goes down a hill. Okay. And at the bottom of the hill before my house is a gas station. The problem is that you see where this is going. You're exiting, going down a hill for a while, and then there is the slightest, most gradual rise that goes over a freeway, like the most gradual rise. You could roll a ball up it, okay, over a freeway through the stoplight that then drops down to the gas station. I was driving the C8 to my house for the purpose of stopping at the gas station to get gas, and I exited. I wasn't even driving hard because I knew I needed gas. I knew it was on fumes. All the lights are on the dash. I know this. I got to the exit.
Cough.
And it coughed. It was the worst ever. It just a little cough. And I was like, no, not here. And then as I'm rolling downhill on the exit, it coughed again, and then it died. And then I'm thinking, okay, I've got it in neutral. At least I'm going downhill. But remember the little rise? It was just enough. I'm not touching anything. It's just enough of a rise to slow the car down. And I came to a stop about 100 feet from the intersection where the rise became a roll down to the gas station. And I was out of gas. There. When I called my wife to get her to help me, she said, "Where are you?" I said, "Look out the window."
Oh, yeah.
Okay? I mean, that's how close I was to this entire part that would have solved it. And Paul had to come and help me because while my wife and I have a gas can, we didn't have the extra long nozzle to pierce through the flap, so you had to bring the extra adapter thing, and so we had to do that. Whatever, yeah. And we had to put a lot of gas in it. And then... because this car had not been driven a lot of late and had happened to have not been on a battery tender, so now we had to jump it on top of giving it gas so that I could go roughly 100 feet to roll into a gas station and fill it up. So that happened about a year ago, and I'm now sharing it with you.
We've got a ton of questions over here on social media as well. On Instagram, let's see. Zach V asks, if I could have purchased a GT4 RS for the same price as the GT4, would I have bought that instead? Hypothetically speaking, where I can't sell for a profit. No, I wouldn't have. And
Really?
Specifically because I wanted a manual transmission. The
Yeah, I see it.
GT4S is a superb car. It's a completely different car, really, a different engine. But I wanted that manual, and I just love the GT4.
It's also quite loud.
It's also very loud,
RS
9,000
is
RPM.
very loud. It's a wonderful engine, great
is.
car. We've done a review of it. We both love it. I think it is a track-only car.
I think it is too. Yeah, I'm definitely with you. And then over on Instagram as well, Sean MCL326 says, what are the real hassles of buying a used car out of state? I don't think it's necessarily the shipping. I don't think it's the pre-purchase inspection. I think it's the trust that you have in whoever you've delegated, whether it's a salesperson or a friend, to give you the real lowdown, the real scoop, because they're going to see things that you don't care about because you're looking for something specific. You want to know about specific things, and the way you look at them, the way you see a piece of damage or something about the car, you feel differently. And it's that trust to know that, all right, you got my back. Is that truly representative?
Yeah.
Is it truly, well, you said it was this and you're totally wrong. It was this actually. And
well, then when it shows up and it's not what you expected in some way, there's
trust,
nothing you can do. Yeah.
Nothing you can do. Yeah. So yeah, shipping, okay, that's solvable. Yeah, payments, sure, we can get the paperwork done. Certainly pre-purchase inspection, they can give you the general layout of the land, and having somebody even drive around for you is certainly possible. But it's that, am I looking for a specific thing? And is it really real what I think it is? Oh, that's dirty, or that's damaged. And nobody caught it. And the thing I would have looked for, nobody saw it.
Nobody
I wish
thought to
I
look
would
for
have
that,
known. That's the most stressful part for me.
That's good. I really do like that. That's excellent. Jason on Instagram says, what's the most fun, raw, and, that's capitalized, lightweight car for $10,000? Would a 986 Boxster or a first-gen 86 be too refined? Is Miata the obvious answer? Z3 MR2, what's the most semi-reliable project weekend car someone could buy in that price range? The big thing I think here, Jason, is your most fun, raw, and lightweight car for $10K. I think the winner here, and you've listed some good ones, but I think the winner is the MR2 Spider.
Oh,
you can get them for a song.
Yes.
They are more involving, more raw, and more unique to drive than the Miata. It's a Toyota, so parts are cheap. The interior looks like it's made from like Home Depot bathroom fixtures. It's not nice, but it is very fun to drive.
It totally does.
Look at our $8,000 car thing. It was in that. They're still super cheap. I think you're looking for a raw, fun driving experience. People have often joked about the fact that that's the cheap Lotus Lease because it has a variant of the same engine. That is a fantastically fun to drive car, and I personally, in many ways, like it more than the Miata. So if you're looking for raw and involving, I think that's your play.
Guys, thank you for all your questions. Thank you for asking more. We will get to those on a later date in the future. Really appreciate you listening. Thank you for watching. You can find us on Apple Podcasts that is powered by Spotify. Also, video on Spotify. Hopefully you're watching this on video on Spotify as well. But of course, you can always consume it on YouTube as well.
We appreciate the comments. All the engagement is fantastic. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Looking forward to next time as always. Cheers, everyone.